Okay.
It's
yeah,
this
yeah.
afternoon.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have the glass here, so I've never smelt you. So I wouldn't know that. But
That's what it's for.
It's always funny, though, to hear everybody complain about that Vrabel moved the practice to the hottest time of the day. Really? Like he took into consideration your thoughts, media?
He did not.
Really? Come on, quit crying. Quit crying. Guess what? The players, though, they're like, uh-oh. like the vets be like, oh, that means we're not playing. Like the starters, they go like, this is our workout today.
Right.
The move is to this time means we won't be playing on Friday night. You youngsters, you better conserve energy out there. You better have on something to block the sun. Stand behind those big guys like I used to do. They block the sun all day long. I'd be like, hey man, me and LaJuan are best friends. As far as him blocking the sun.
Oh, yeah, big guys will do that. I know.
Big, D lineman, Autry, just Bud Dupree's thighs could block a lot of things.
No doubt. That's a big old rascal, man.
Ooh.
At some point.
And Tart, just the name Tart means he's big.
Tart's a big rascal. There's a guy out there who's just one of the guys that people wouldn't know well, defensive lineman. I was looking at him on the sideline.
He's just like
yesterday.
Jan Johnson?
Yes, his name is Anthony Rush. Maybe he can rush the passer.
Oh, that sounds
okay,
intimidating.
This dude.
What's his number?
Third year out of Alabama, Birmingham. He's number 95.
Rush.
Okay, I want to put this in perspective.
Oh, here he is.
Go Blazers.
When you
about UAB?
Watch an NFL football game, typically you watch it on TV, and everybody looks about the same size, right? Like the linemen stand next to each other. The quarterback's usually a taller guy, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", and you just see them stand next to each other. Well, they're all standing next to each other. So if Clyde Edwards-Helaire or somebody's standing there, you're like, okay, they're real big or he's real small. That's only Dexter McCluster. Okay, that dude's got to be real small. This dude looked big standing on the sidelines with the other D linemen. Did you look at his weight?
See, 361. That's an odd number, 361. Usually, like 6'0", 6'5".
No, he got that. Don't cheat me out of 1 pound.
Yeah. 6'4". That's what they list him at from UAB, as you said. He's from is he from Raleigh, North Carolina? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
6'4", 361.
That's a mountain of a man.
And I don't see too great down the field, but I'm like, oh my gosh, who is that?
Oh, well, guess what I would have been saying? That is my shade blocker.
100%.
Right there. That's my guy.
He could block the shade for 2 or 3 people.
Yeah. I'm concerned. I can't let the heat just beam on me, man. Yeah. So that's my guy. So practices, so now a lot of guys are not going to be at practice. Got things to do, man. Meetings to go to and everything else.
But they do need to get it honed down for the dudes who are going to play a lot. Like, they got to know where to go and what to do so they're not yelling for a tight end or somebody to run out there on this particular
And it's still
play.
inevitable. It could happen. I mean, coaches are going to be upset. They go over it 50 billion times. But some ding-dong is going to, knucklehead is going to be daydreaming in awe. Oh, man, that's Matty Ice. Oh, I'm supposed to be out there. Oh, that guy went down. I didn't know he went down. I didn't know I was supposed to go in, Coach. Too bad, you're cut.
Right. And like on special teams.
Don't worry about it. We don't need you now.
Like special teams, you'll see them out there line up waiting to kick a field goal, and the kicker and everybody will start looking to the sidelines. And then some dude just darts out there and, shoves himself into his place. You're like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You got caught up in things on the sidelines. You're drinking a Gatorade. You were looking in the stands, something else.
Yeah, back to you. And here's what a lot of players mess up on, especially rookies, and I was there included in this, is that you're watching the game like you're watching it on TV. Like, oh, wow. Oh, dang, he smashed him. Oh, my God, man, did you see that? Hey, man, did you see that hit? Hey, man, he didn't even see him coming, man. That should have been an illegal. That should have been a penalty. You're over there having these kind of discussions instead of watching your position, what you need to be doing, who are you subbing for, watch the game as now you are a player.
Right.
Yeah, and that happened. Oh, man, it happened to me probably halfway through the first preseason game. So I was like, oh, my. So, yeah. So, yeah, he's talking in our ear, because Nolensville, Little Leagues have made it to the
World Series.
Man. And I guess they're announcing their names right now on TV.
And they have Vanderbilt. They have the Vandy black with gold pinstripes.
Which is interesting because that's not like Nolensville's colors.
Yeah, they switched the N with the V out for the N.
Yes, they're exact tiny replicas for these tiny people.
So congratulations to them to just even make it this far, man. It's pretty cool.
Carson Boer leading off.
Yeah,
on ESPN.
As things happen, we'll keep you. We got this playing in the studio, so we know you guys like to keep up. I know the Goodlettsville team's had some great runs over the last few years. Got to shout them out. Nolensville too. So as things develop, we'll certainly let you know with these guys. But game underway here, so don't worry. We'll be on for the next couple hours as things happen. With they're playing a team from Florida. We'll certainly let you know what's going on.
Yeah, we needed to know so soon. I mean, we still have minutes in the segment that he had to interrupt our ear because that kind of always blows me away.
Hey guys, man.
Yeah, Blade. It's you guys stop talking about your preseason experience. I think they're going to introduce him again tomorrow or their next game. I don't think it's a sense of urgency as you thought. I don't know about that.
He's excited for him. You know,
well, I'm excited for him too. It's an exciting time. But we got to have our pecking order here.
My Little League team played in Truman, Arkansas in an all-star tournament. We went to Al's Barbecue afterwards.
I wasn't good enough to be on a Little League team, so
One time I made
I was on the team for 2 times, and then after the third time, they're like, you strike out too much.
Well,
buddy.
you told me I'm going up and get my money's worth. I'm going to swing hard.
I was swinging to hit home runs. Who cares? Yeah. Probably
Nowadays,
just like how I was hitting
hitter.
people. So it just didn't work. It just didn't work the same in baseball. You have to have a little bit of patience.
You were not the hitman for baseball.
Yeah, he's just, man, I wish I could have been, though. Oh, man, that would have been fantabulous. Yeah, just like these kids, they didn't have an experience like that as a youngster to go to the Little League. So it's pretty awesome to see kids all across the country, let alone here from Tennessee, to continually show that the youth baseball here is fantabulous. They have some really good talent because it's almost every other year there, Lucas, that we are in contention, whatever part of the state you are from. They always have some good players. So hats off to the development of young baseball players here in Tennessee.
No doubt. This state is starting to just produce unbelievable number of Division I football players. It's become a baseball hotbed. There's great basketball that's played here. And I know there are other states where Texas and Louisiana.
Well, it's a change from where it was. So that's
right.
all we can compare it to. What it was when we first got here till today.
Oh my
gosh.
Not
compared to the other states. So it's grown tremendously, not only in people, but producing athletes, entertainers, actors, doctors, lawyers. We can go down the list. I know they're on TV, and we're always talking about what's on TV, but everybody's dream is not going to be to make it to the pro sports. Some's going to be a big time hotshot, lawyer or doctor. Or whatever it may be. Could be a principal.
And you play college sports in anything, that's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
that's pretty cool.
D1, 2, 3, 1 AA. That's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. I
got to touch all of those, by the way. A lot of people don't know that history. I have played it against every level in college.
Because people don't know you're a Ball State guy, but you started at another school.
Well, I started at a school that no longer exists. It was a private Catholic school, St. Joseph's in Rensselaer, Indiana. Division II program. We played Division III programs. So I got to play every level.
I bet those guys had dirty socks. That's like the level where it's like, get on the bus, here's your sandwich. You get 1 pair of socks at the start of the year.
No, at the Division II at St. Joseph's, you brought your own socks. What are you talking about?
It was BYOS, bring your own socks.
Yeah, St. Joseph Pumas was our name.
I like that.
Yeah, it was the Pumas.
Did you wear Pumas?
No, we did not.
Did you have to bring your own shoes?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, my gosh. I thought you at least get like one. Hey, man, you make these last.
Yeah.
Because in my days at Arkansas State, my buddies were like, you got 1 shorts, 1 T-shirt, 1 sweats that you traveled in, or you practiced in when it was cold. They were both. 1 pair of cleats. Hey, man, better take good care of these. Ain't another one. You wear them with pride. 1 of everything.
It just shows even back then, people were still getting missed as they're still happening today. I was looking up Josh Allen. He just got the mega contract we touched on yesterday for $250 million, 100 and something more guaranteed, right? He went to JUCO, had no college offers there, Lucas. No college offers coming out. He went to JUCO. 1 offer by Wyoming. Now he's slapping people across the face saying, how you like me now? 250. 250. And he will get it all because he's still young. I would assume he's going to get it all, or he's going to get an extension or something. But, yeah. So it's still happening still today. I wonder how that happens. This guy has a big arm. That you can't miss that.
Oh my gosh!
Now, you can
arm
say,
is
"Oh,
ridiculous.
he's not accurate." Well, we can teach accuracy sometimes. Well, he's perfected that, and he's a heck of an athlete. He can run around and man make some plays. So the story is amazing. Just that alone. One offer, Wyoming. No offers out of high school, and guaranteed he was a stud, just like Lucas.
Lucas is.
Yes, Lucas was a stud goalie, right? Weren't you a goalie?
I was not.
He's too short to be a goalie.
No, what were you? Oh, but with his athleticism, can't you see it in his thunderous thighs?
He does have thunderous thighs. He's our producer, Lucas. We got Teresa Walker. She's been to the Olympics. You're going to hear some great stories next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
Take every Titans game with you.
Put your seatbelt on and let's do this thing. Let's do this thing is right.
Get every game by downloading the 104.5 The Zone app.
Let's be honest. You've been looking for like the alumni of the year for the Tennessee Vols of all their journalism majors. She just, she's just our buddy more than anything, though. Teresa, how in the world are you doing? Have you gotten over your jet lag yet?
No, she has not. She's not spoken.
Oh, almost.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, ma'am. We got you.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing after that? I felt like suddenly I was getting a Amber Alert or something over my phone for a second.
No, I think they were doing one of those EAS tests. Lucas told us in that commercial break they had to run the EAS test. So everything apparently is okay. It was just a test of the emergency broadcast system. Yeah. Had it been a real emergency, you would have been further instructed, Teresa.
Oh, that's good to know. But I'm glad I stuck on the line. I'm just saying.
Us too.
So have you got used to the time change is what Mickey is asking. Are you rested up enough yet to feel like you're back to the time or no? I appreciate you coming on.
Blaine, I'll just say this, no, because my body is kind of thinking that it's 3:20 a.m. on Thursday right now. And it's just confused as all get out at the moment.
Well, you stayed over there for, the full Olympiad, so no wonder your body thinks it's that time. So here's the deal. We were talking to Lucas, and we said, let's get Teresa Walker this week so we can get Olympic wrap-up. And he said, I saw her tweeting from there. So does she always get to go to the Olympics? And Blaine and I were like, yeah. I mean, like every time.
What's about your 6th or 7th time?
How many times? Yeah.
8th?
This is my 6th one.
Okay.
I did Rio in 2016, Korea in 2018, London in 2012, Vancouver Winter Olympics 2010, and then the Atlanta Olympics in 96. So number 6, and we'll find out probably in the next month or so if number 7 is on the docket for Beijing in February. So, I'll just say this, a lot of fun, really glad to be home.
Yeah, no doubt. Teresa Walker, our buddy, joins us fresh off the coverage of another Olympics and safely back home on Tennessee soil.
Well, T, thanks for coming on, especially with the time change and everything else. We appreciate you coming on, telling us your story, I guess, about the experience over there with all the, COVID, that you had to follow, as well as probably protesters and everything else getting, gear, let's say, to bring the Blaine and Mickey some gear back. I'm sure that was tough to do because you couldn't go anywhere, could you? Besides the actual event.
I couldn't. I literally was in quarantine for the first 14 days. And because some paperwork on my COVID negative tests were 2 boxes weren't checked, I had to spend the night in the Narita airport on my way in, which delayed my getting through quarantine. So I wasn't allowed to really walk around until like Friday night of this last weekend. So, when I finally did get to go walking on Saturday, guys, I went to a really thrilling place. I went to a mall. Across the street from the Saitama Super Arena, there was something called Cocoon 1, Cocoon 2, Cocoon 3, and they're just all these huge malls. And I went through 1 and 2 trying to look for a couple things that people had asked me to try to find, but there just didn't see any Tokyo 2020 gear until I made it to the airport on my way out. So. And by that point, I didn't, since I didn't know if I'd have anything, I didn't have a long shopping list, let's just say. Okay. I bought a few things. I bought some, 3 tiny bottles of sake. I got a T-shirt from the Olympics that's I tried it on this morning. I'm probably going to give it to my son. And then I got one for a shirt from my nephew and a little mascot for my niece. And that was kind of it. It was so weird because even going out through the entire 3 weeks in the hotel, they extended the state of emergency to like 4 or 5 other prefectures, counties, whatever you want to call them, and including the one where we were having basketball played. So restaurants were closing at 8 o'clock, and most nights, almost every night, we weren't done until 10, 11 o'clock at night at the earliest. So, thank goodness for the Lawson convenience store. And if you've never heard of that, Anthony Bourdain raved about their egg salad sandwich. And, I'll just say this, thank goodness for that convenience store, because it was a godsend through those 3 weeks. I mean, even at the airport, there was only one restaurant that was open at the airport. And thank goodness for the 7-Eleven for, a couple of beverages and snacks before we got on the plane.
Oh, wow, man. What a heck of an experience See, I guess I don't know what you actually had to cover, but what was the most impressive performance that you saw or you reported on, and what did you have to actually cover?
Well, I helped assisted covering women's basketball, and then pitched in as here and there on the men, running quotes and such. So, most impressive watching Japan's women hit 19 threes in a game against Nigeria. But to watch the U.S. women had such an inside post presence. Brittany Griner, Asia Wilson, Sylvia Fowles in her last Olympics appearance. And then Brianna Stewart was kind of playing at the 4 because they were so loaded down in there at center. So, they dominated. One game they scored 72% of their points inside. It was just a dominant kind of performance, old school in a way, we've got these bigs, you don't, and we're just going to pound the ball inside. So it was kind of fun to watch. But I was there for the gold medal game for the men as well, helping, run quotes for that. So got to, talk to Drew Holiday after the game. Guys, think about his 3.5 weeks. He wins the NBA Finals with the Bucks, catches a flight 2 days later, and then he's on the court in time for France-US, which ended up being a loss for the U.S. men. But, a couple weeks later, he's leaving with a gold medal to put in the, expanding trophy case. And, talked to Draymond Green about, Kevin Durant. And, he said, listen, he's the best player in the world right now. So, and he kind of led that American team to gold, and after that loss to France, I don't think anyone would have been surprised if, especially after their struggles in Vegas in their training camp, if they had just, if they had not come away with a gold medal this year, and instead they still ended up walking away with the big gold medal.
I know I tried to, Teresa, watch it as much as possible with the time difference of where everything was replayed and then you get it on social media, but the ratings were down. What do you think? Is that the main contributor? Why do you think the ratings down, or was just kind of hard to view with all the different channels and the different events going on?
Well, Blaine, I think that's a big thing. The time change. I'm confused as all get out still, and I had on my watch Nashville time, local time, so that helped me know, okay, I can try and call my husband or my son, or no, this isn't the time to try to do it, and that helped keep me straight. But if you're sitting back here, it's kind of tough to put yourself on Tokyo time to know what's going on, and then you're 14 hours ahead of the central time zone over there, so I can, it certainly didn't seem to help. And in Rio, it was only an hour ahead of Eastern time zone, so it made it a lot easier for NBC to have events live and in prime time when people are able to watch. It's amazing how much that helps. And it's going to be very interesting because Beijing, it's going to be a very similar situation with time difference. So it's challenging for it's very challenging for NBC. It seems like when the IOC keeps putting games in these countries that are so far away from the U.S. Primetime zone, and they're paying a big chunk of money. So I don't blame anybody. I had a hard time, and I think that's one reason why the U.S. women played every single game at 1:40 until they got to the gold medal game, and that was at 11:30 a.m. local time. But I think it was like 9:30 Central Time p.m. Back here. So it's just I was confused and I was trying to keep track of it. So I can completely understand people who weren't able to follow that.
Going with AP and Hall of Fame writer Teresa Walker.
That's right. Teresa, the Simone Biles thing, as you can imagine, took legs for a number of different reasons back home, and how it was covered, and people, of course, losing their minds on social media on one side of the aisle or the other, talking about mental health and how everything played out. So we're getting everything, a filtered down version, several hours later, and then we're seeing things in tape delay as we've been talking about. Inside the bubble, what was that situation like, the coverage and the way it was handled and the way people were approaching it?
Well, I'll say this, when she, pulled out and withdrew, everybody was like, you couldn't not talk about it. It was the story of the games, particularly in that first week to 10 days. And so it's like, wait, she pulled out, or she's not going to do this event. hey, she is going to do the balance beam. And so, yeah, I mean, I was really glad I got to be back in my hotel room the night she, did the balance beam, and to see her perform on that. And, I covered, the National Gymnastics Championships were here in Nashville at Memorial Coliseum. I think it was 1994, and I covered that then. And, I've covered some other gymnastic events over the years. I had never heard the term twisties before. And, we all were busy learning about just how challenging it is. And think about it. These gymnasts go flying through the air and twisting about, and, I get vertigo sometimes, if I'm not careful, you get that gyroscope just kind of bumfuzzled inside. Well, if you're a gymnast and that goes out of whack, you can seriously hurt yourself. We're talking broken bones, broken necks, and things like that. So when she took herself out of the team competition, I know there's been an awful lot said about that, but by her pulling herself out, that allowed her teammates to win silver. So, if she had tried to go through that, who knows, it might have cost them even that. So, I know there's a lot of people with a lot of opinions on this. I've been reading what the gymnasts say, and they say that, it is a serious thing, it's a dangerous thing, and just hope that it's something that, something she can, clear up, because I think she's got a tour, or is part of a tour taking place this fall after, that was scheduled for after the Olympics. And I hope everything goes well, because, that's the thing. When you see somebody fly through the air like that and just dazzle us, we don't want to think about the tough side of it. And, it's an absolutely real thing. And hopefully she can get back to a point where she can perform and execute what she needs to do at the level she's accustomed.
Teresa Walker, our guest. Now, Simone Biles is a great example of someone who went to the Olympics and they came home a star. And obviously she's been a big star in our, if you're a star on that stage, you're a star throughout the world. I'm always interested to see who leaves the games that maybe people didn't know beforehand, and then afterwards people are talking about that person, and that person's going to be doing ads and things. To me, Sydney McLaughlin has a chance to be that breakout star. Charismatic, beautiful, great at what she does. Won gold medals. We watched a couple of her races, my family, and we were all like, this young lady is going to be so famous after all this.
Oh, absolutely. And let's not forget, and I'm going to butcher her name, this Afing Mo or something. She was so incredibly fast, and she won the 800 meters. And, the thing that might hold her back is, we need to pronounce her with her name so that we don't butcher it. But, hey, U.S. women did an incredible performance. And, yes, Sydney McLaughlin, just outstanding. Shoot, Allison Felix, let's not forget about her.
Oh, gosh,
the most decorated American track and field athlete ever. So, the women put on quite a show over there. So, but, you're right. The one thing that maybe goes against Sydney is the fact that she's a track athlete. And when do we pay attention to track and field in the United States? Every 4 years when the Olympics happen. So, the fact that Paris is 3 years away instead of 4, maybe that helps Nikki. But, I am curious to see how some of the, with the time delays, does that gold medal cut through some of the issues of, these games having been played in a pandemic quarantine situation, time difference, and whether that comes back now and can break through the noise of that is football season.
Our buddy Teresa Walker of the Associated Press, fresh off her 6th Olympic Games, joins us on Blaine and Mickey.
Yes, T. Now, I didn't know this was an Olympic deal, but there were some new sports, I guess, and some they got rid of. I guess kind of talk about that. But first, I have to go into the dancing horses.
That's our favorite.
What was that? I saw that, and I was like, I didn't know that was part of the maybe I missed it before, but I'm sure there was some new and some that they didn't have before. But kind of take us through that timeline, and did you even know that there was dancing horses part of the Olympics?
Well, I did know about the dancing horses.
Oh,
I will
okay.
say that in Rio, I covered the final day of equestrian individual show jumping, something I'd never done before. Thankfully, that day in Rio, it was a 6-man jump off for the gold, made my job a little easier that day. But I do know that there was a sumo wrestler statue at the equestrian field that, they ended up having to get rid of because it was literally scaring the horses, which I'm sorry, that's just kind of bizarre. And apparently some of the horses, literally kind of stood up and said, no, I'm not going to do that. one didn't want to jump, and there was a coach who got in trouble for punching a horse or hitting a horse, and I had an immediate flashback to Blazing Saddles.
Yes,
so 3-on-3 was one of the new sports. Skateboarding, climbing. For anyone who's gone to a rock wall or a fake rock wall and done some climbing, those were some of those new sports. Softball and baseball were back. When I flew over to Tokyo, I was actually on the flight with the U.S. baseball team and the Dominican Republic's baseball team, and that ended up being the silver and bronze medal winners in baseball. So I'm just saying good luck, but the thing that's going to be interesting, though, is we get ready for Paris. The IOC, made a move. They're going to have a little bit more control over, what sports are in, what sports are out. I'm very curious to see, what is in and what is out for 2024.
Yeah, did they move some sports also to like Winter Olympics, or I was trying to remember because it seemed like they had moved some of the sports. I didn't know if that was true or not.
That I have to admit, I'm not sure. I'll have to double check on that, Blaine, because, let's put it this way. I'm still trying to figure out what time of the day it is right now as I try to pile through some of I tried to keep up with all the Titan stuff while I was gone, but, let's just put it this way. I'm still playing catch up.
You still playing catch up? Well, you didn't miss. Well, Julio Jones wasn't on the field for the Titans very much at all. I don't think anything's changed. Besides, the defense has looked really good for what it's worth. Tannehill's thrown some picks. I think he's at 6 or 7 now throughout the camp, if you want to keep track of that. And some of the young players are continuing to getting better, slowly but surely understanding the NFL game. So, in a nutshell, that's it. Oh, Derrick Henry hasn't. He's done everything on the side. He's been a great coach.
Well, Derrick Henry, that is not a surprise. And I'll say this about Julio Jones. As long as he's ready and working consistently the 2 weeks after the last preseason game before the opener against Arizona, that's what I'll be keeping a close eye on, because he's been in the league 10 years. I think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I don't think he practiced too much the last couple of years anyway with the Falcons. I'm not too much worried about that. But I was just trying to say you didn't miss very much. With Teresa Walker, the legend, AP and Hall of Fame writer.
Now, Teresa, you did miss this. Matt Barkley moved to town while you were away. So there's a new – hey, Logan Woodside is like Twinkies surviving the nuclear war. That dude just keeps on surviving. And he's survived. Deshaun Kaiser.
When a backup –
Yeah, B. Weiser cut Kaiser. They did. And so now Matt Barkley is here, so you can get to know him. He seems like a very pleasant young man.
Well, here's the thing that I'll say about Logan Woodside. They made it very clear last year that, they think he knows this offense very, very well. And that gives the coach confidence. And, you never want to have to go to the backup quarterback,
right,
but you at least want to know that he knows what to do when he's in there. So, whoever, Matt Barkley's going to have to show that he can, beat Logan Woodside with his, physical ability and ability to pick up this offense quickly, because guess what? Logan Woodside, the longer he's here, the longer he's familiar with everybody inside the building and that offense, and that's going to be a tough combination to beat.
Well, and on the defensive side, again, Teresa Walker, our guest, we're giving her some, inside information here, get her up to date since she's been in Tokyo.
Yeah,
and I'm sure you've been reading this and seeing this every day. The defense, which was always the question mark last year, they have ruled the day. They have played lights out, even with all the new faces, and Shane Bowen's not coaching a position group anymore. But Teresa, that may be the first thing you notice when you get back out there and see practice is like, hey, man, I got to learn about all these guys, but they are playing lights out right now.
Well, here's the thing, and I know that was the big question mark about this team. It's like, this defense was bad last year. Don't we think that the Titans heard all this talk? And, notice the fact that they changed out a whole bunch of guys, got rid of some guys, and brought in a whole bunch of new guys. And, all those guys know, all the new guys understand that, this team wasn't good on defense last year. And the guys who were still here, Kevin Byard, Harold Landry, Jeffrey Simmons, Jayon Brown, Rashaan Evans, they heard all that stuff last year too. And they're guys who were on a good defense the year before in 2019. So I can only imagine that they've got a little bug up their ear, burr under the saddle, whatever you want to call it, wanting to show that they can be a good defense. And, hey, early in training camp, defense usually has the edge anyway, right?
That's right. I was wondering where you were about to put that bug up where, but you got it under the saddle eventually. So there you go.
Exactly.
The bug up the ear. Yes, I got you. Teresa, hey, we enjoyed reading your coverage. We always love reading about, your Grizzlies coverage, your Titans, and everything else. But it's always fun when you go to the Olympics because we feel like we go there vicariously. I did love this, and I always say you have the best food tweets of anybody. You posted a beautiful picture of eggs and bacon and pancakes when you got back home. I knew you would have something great when you hit the American soil again.
She missed food.
Let's just say this. Food was challenging over there. I had the very same item for breakfast for nearly 3 weeks.
Ooh.
It was a good breakfast. It was the same thing for 3 weeks. I needed something once I got home. I've been dreaming of those pecan pancakes, I'll just say.
She said something.
I know. You earned them, T. Hey, we look forward to seeing you out at practice again soon.
Yeah, get you some rest. Appreciate it.
Ma'am.
Thank you, guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the Hall of Famer Teresa Walker. Love having her on again. Her 6th. Lucas said how many, and we were trying to add it up. 6 Olympics, and about to find out if she will get her 7th, because guess what? We're just a few months away from the Winter Olympics the way this is all timed out. And if you listen to the show, that makes me happy, because nothing makes me happier than the world competing in all sorts of known and obscure sports. When we come back, I said something on Twitter today that made Lucas so mad at me that he no longer is my friend, I don't think.
What?
Yes. I said something so controversial.
There's no
on
way
Twitter.
you could do something like that.
It changes the way he felt about me. I'll share it when we come back. People don't like me anymore.
Oh.
So that's next.
Oh, I follow you too. I didn't see that.
The 3HL, cheerleading all SEC teams.
That's how all Auburn people know how to spell Auburn. Auburn.
It's the dumbest cheer I've ever heard. SLAY. I mean, you can do that with anything.
Don't make me take you out.
Get them, Babs. I mean, you can do that for anything, Babs.
It's not the right intonation. It's not the right number of letters. It doesn't have the tradition. SUCKIT. Jerk.
Today, starting at 3 on 104.5 The Zone.
hanging out with us. You can hang out with us on Zone TV if you would like. You can join the chat as always there. You can tweet us at Blaine and Mickey. We'd love to have you follow us on Twitter, interact with us there. Blaine's been asking me to put this question up, and I need to do it. What? You could have dinner with any Titan. Which one would you choose?
Oh.
We need to put that up because I've really been thinking, like, who would I pick? Honestly, I think I'd pick Bud Dupree right now.
Oh, because you feel like you don't know him as well.
I don't know him that well. I'd like to have dinner with Bud Dupree, and he's a fascinating interview. You know, he's a guy who he came from Kentucky. I'd love to hear about his experience there. I would love to hear about his experience in Pittsburgh. Then he plays his way into a big contract. You know, gets that money, that second contract that everybody's trying to play for. And here's the thing: they really need him. He really needs to be a fantastic player for them this year. Because I've been thinking about it. I thought, gosh, I'd probably pick Bud Dupree. It's probably who I'd pick. You have dinner with any Titan? And some ladies might be like, this guy's cute, I'm picking him. I mean, you can pick anybody for whatever reason. But I would just like to have dinner and chew it up with Bud Dupree a little bit.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, there. You know, man, I would probably want a handful of guys so they all could split the bill. And I could really get to learn about, 5 guys. So, you could go around. Lawan actually is one of them because I think he would be entertaining and funny all at the same time. But, yeah, you get to learn a little bit more about him and who he is. Maybe some of the young players, that, you just seem like you don't know yet. So we could pick one of those if you want,
Kendall Lamb.
Who?
I'd go with Kendall Lamb, the tackle.
He's not a young player. He's been in the league.
But just to eat dinner with every time.
Well, that's because he's a great interview.
Oh,
he's fantastic. You're going to be a great
interview.
person to sit down with and have a conversation with, to get to know somebody. See, that's why what people don't understand. Some guys are better at selling themselves. Doesn't mean that guy who's kind of muted is not a better guy to sit down outside of media and say, let's have a general conversation.
Yep.
See, totally different because you have to have this way about you when you're interviewing with the media. You're guarded. And when I say guarded is you're never going to let any of the dirty laundry outside of the locker room. So you have to answer everything Kobe said. It's like, oh, yeah, Vrabel's a great coach, and he does all these, just no different than somehow the assistant coaches answer things, right? What are you supposed to say? Throw the guy under the bus that he called the call, and he made a bad call in the game, and he really is all up my butt every day. He really gets on my nerves. So, I mean, but seriously, so nobody's going to do that. But in a sit-down meeting,
he's up my butt every single day.
Yeah, right. In a sit-down meeting, you may be like, hey, man, he's tough, but I can appreciate, how tough he is on us.
Right.
See, that is an inkling to, he's tough, and tough maybe on you because of a certain reason. And that could be a good thing, as I said about Tart last year, about if he's tough on you, then he sees something in you that you don't even know you have. So just because somebody's, great with interview and answer questions, is that all they got? That's their A game.
Right.
That's all they may have. The guy who never says anything, even like Derrick Henry, you'll be, we love Derrick Henry. Well, Derrick Henry's he's not giving you anything in an interview. He had nothing. But you never hear anybody say, Derrick Henry's not a good interview. He's not a good interview. Where'd you go, Lucas? You disappeared. I can't even see you now.
He's punching. Oh, he's on the phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, he's supposed to be able to do 5 things at one time, so it doesn't
100%.
matter. Yeah. So, I like to get to know the linemen, like offense and defensive linemen. Like, man, those are big human beings, but if you get to really know them, they're like soft teddy bears, and you would never envision them that way.
Right.
When you get to know some of those guys, it's kind of really cool. Sometimes they're some of the brightest guys on the team too. So yeah, I'd like to sit down. Yeah, that way they can just split the bill. And I walk away with that they can even cover the tip.
Well, sure, absolutely. Tower says on the chat here, Taylor Lewan is who I'd like to have dinner with via Zone TV. You can weigh in there. Here's the thing I said that made everybody mad at me. It's the most controversial thing that I've apparently ever said.
You tweeted this out.
Yes. I've
been
no. 10 years on Twitter.
You're
plus.
in trouble.
Rex Chapman, former UT basketball player.
Oh, yeah.
Very
Sexy
active
Rexy.
on Twitter. Very active on Twitter.
Yeah. He's got the blocking charge. I love it. It's hilarious to me. Is that what you went after him on?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
He said, tweet out your most controversial food take. And I said, I think watermelon tastes like wet dirt. and I have been getting killed now for 2 hours.
Wet dirt?
Killed. People, Lucas, Mickey, no, in all caps.
Oh,
then he followed it up
Mickey.
again. A guy named Casey. These are literally the people you hang out with, Lucas. You need to surround yourself with people of higher character. And he said, Mickey Ryan has the highest of character, but I'm shocked and appalled by this.
You know what? Wet dirt?
It's awful to me.
It is what?
When
Who
people are
hurt
like,
you? I am really shocked here, Mickey. I think I'm going to be on the side of Lucas. I would have never thought I'd ever say that.
And so people are like, you don't eat the outside. I know that ding dong. And somebody else, I knew some Jack A would say this. Hey, you know what dirt tastes like. No, you Jack A. It's just a figure of speech.
I do. Yeah, I've eaten a couple,
I mean, we've all face planted in a baseball
or
game.
half a spoon of dirt.
Well, I've never had it be a spoon, but I face planted in
I
sports.
measured it, but no, I did not take a spoon of it. No. But I mean, sliding in baseball.
Yes.
To you on a dirt field in football.
You get
it's
the
a baseball
dirt
Yeah,
sometimes.
you're going to get some dirt. And then guess what? Here's where everybody's had some dirt. Even you, Lucas, and all the countries that you've lived in.
Soccer.
Yeah, right. No, you've dropped something on the ground and you go, nope. I'm picking this up and I'm eating it. Because this is like, they used to say this where God made dirt don't hurt. Hey, whoop, boom, gone.
I got a 6-year-old. We eat everything off the
I
ground.
know I picked up a gummy bear before and done that.
Right
yeah,
there.
and it probably was a CBD gummy bear.
Hey, man, I ain't losing this. I feel better. I ain't losing this thing.
So, hey, man, we've all had a taste of dirt. But I can't say that the watermelon tastes like dirt, man. I'm on the other side of this one, man. Dirt is dry. A watermelon's wet and juicy.
Wet dirt.
Yeah, somebody just heard on the radio, they said, what is Blaine talking about, wet and juicy? I mean, it tastes really good. It's got this sugary, make you want to go back.
Harry Styles.
Oh, man, I can't believe you don't like watermelon.
No.
I mean, it's not like my number one on the list, but, I definitely enjoy some watermelon every now and then.
Some other knucklehead like, you haven't had the right watermelon. I've had all of it. I grew up in Northeast Arkansas. They grow watermelons all around there.
You don't like watermelon?
No, we grew them in the garden.
You can say you don't
sometimes.
like. I don't like the seeds in it or something. No, you just don't like. It tastes like. So how can something be so wet, but you think it tastes so dry?
It tastes like
dirt.
Wet dirt. That's what I said. Wet dirt, which is essentially mud.
It's nasty.
That's what it tastes like.
Oh, I've never had no wet dirt now.
Insanity to me. It's insanity to me.
I can't believe you would. Or did you go extreme, or this is really how you felt like wet dirt?
No, that's exactly what I've always said. Tastes like wet dirt. And I've
You're
had
not lying.
watermelons right out of the field.
I can tell you're not lying.
My dad has come
know.
home with them from work, like, hey, one of my constituents brought me this watermelon from Cave City today, like some of the best watermelons in the world. I'm like, hey, you're on your own, Dad. None for me.
I could eat like 3 entire watermelons in one sitting. I could just keep eating it.
I haven't had the equivalent of a cup full of watermelon probably in the last 20 years of my life.
I had watermelon today. Now, naturally, I eat fruit
We're on the
daily,
same cycle.
so I have it all cut up and sliced up in a Tupperware dish. So
Nope.
watermelon is in there.
No.
Yeah. Well, I can't believe it. So that leads us down the road of what fruit do you hate the most? Because we already know Mickey hates watermelon. Is something top that list?
Mike has weighed in on this on the Zone TV chat. So here's what you can hit us there. You can tweet us at Blaine and Mickey. You can call 615-737-1045. What's your most controversial food take? Even you can hit us with that.
Oh, okay.
Because apparently hating watermelon is super controversial.
That is, Mickey.
And we'll be right back.
The NFL preseason is finally here, and the Titans pay an early visit to Julio Jones' former team, the Atlanta Falcons. Mike Keith and Coach Mack have the kickoff Friday night at 6.
Finger roll! Touchdown! Titans!
On your home for Titans football and flagship for Titans radio, 104.5 The Zone.
My friends at Cedar Recovery, by the way, the PE teacher at my 6-year-old son's school, I don't want to say too much here. He's like, man, I listen to you and Blaine every day. And I'm like, wait, isn't that during school? And he's like, yeah, have a great day, man. I don't know how he's pulling that.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
That's a radio somewhere in the school. So what up? What up? I'll leave him unnamed.
You know, when they're doing their homework in class, he's got his headphones on.
Well, he's the PE teacher, so he's probably drug a radio in the gym. My man's like,
yeah.
the gym is mine. I play a radio
cool.
in here.
That's awesome, man. All
So,
the kids will know us too.
So shout out to him. He goes, I kept thinking, there's a kid in the school who wears an Arkansas State hat every day. My son wears the same hat every day. Every day to school, he wears an Arkansas State hat.
Does he like watermelon is all I need to know.
No, he doesn't like it either.
You are encouraging him not to eat watermelon.
So we ended, literally, we dropped a bombshell on Middle Tennessee with the end of the first hour of the show because I admitted that I don't like watermelon.
And we said it tastes like what?
Wet dirt. And we had the Zone TV chat was so full of comments of people saying, I hate peaches, I hate strawberries, and it crashed. It's just gone. So Lucas is in there working furiously with his thumbs to try to hammer something down. But there are other, because Blaine was like, what fruit do the rest of you not like? Because I think people have strong opinions about fruit and vegetables, about what they hate. And then my thing was, I answered the question from Rex Chapman on Twitter, what's your most controversial food take? And I said, watermelon tastes like wet dirt. And I'm just getting dragged by people.
Jedi Rangers agrees with you. He says watermelon is trash.
Well, I got a tweet, and this may have summed it up.
You got to read one of them, man. One of them would just side me out of my chair, man.
Justo on Twitter said, I'm with you, Mickey. It tastes like garbage water.
I can't comprehend it. I don't get it.
Gary says this, and Gary, I see my army is uniting behind me. You say something controversial like I hate watermelon, it tastes like wet dirt, you're going to be divisive. Like people are going to follow you to your car and yell at you.
There are dozens of us.
Yes, there are dozens. Here's what Gary said. It's okay, bro. He started with that just to reassure me, just to calm me down. It's okay, bro. See that? I'm soothed.
Oh, I thought that was a setup. Like,
no,
it's okay, bro.
I did too. Like, it's okay, bro. You're stupid.
Right.
But it's like, it's okay, bro. I've been in the South my whole life, and I never liked watermelon. It sounds like styrofoam when people eat it, and flies land on it like it's poop. No thanks.
That is not true.
Flies love it. Think about that. They also love poop.
They do. And
flies love poop and watermelon.
Do flies fly around wet dirt too?
Yeah, and what are they doing when they land on everything? Probably pooping.
Oh, my.
So all you poop eaters out there, just enjoy your fruit.
It's a ridiculous argument. They land on every food.
Meanwhile, let's give you an update on the Little League World Series. Tennessee, Noblesville is down 3-0 in the bottom of the third, and Florida is up to bat. You know, just to make sure, because Lucas and his crew wanted to know an update.
That's right. They have pitched out of trouble a couple times to keep it 3-0. It really could have gotten out of hand, but it has not. By the way, a bunch of you, Tower says watermelon is nasty on the Zone TV chat. Blaine and Mickey. Eric says, I don't know what's worse, watermelon or cucumbers. I hate cucumbers.
Oh, you didn't put that on there?
No,
you don't like cucumbers?
No, but there are other people that don't like cucumbers. But
I mean, it's not my favorite by any means, but I can, go for it. Maybe if it's in like my salad or something.
If we went right now somewhere and we got a salad and had cucumbers in it, I would go through and take every one of them out individually.
Really?
And normally I just mix all my food together and eat it, but just the thought of eating a cucumber makes me sick.
Insanity.
They're like dry.
Wait. You sure these things on your taste buds wasn't because of the COVID?
No, but I hate watermelon even more since I had COVID because I tried it. You can ask my wife. We had some in the refrigerator. I got a bite of it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much worse than it was.
Oh, and it was already bad
and dirtier, and it was already bad to me.
It was already dirtier.
Like if you're like, hey man, you got nothing to eat, or you can eat all the watermelon you can, I'd be like, I'm going to fast for a while. I'm just going to intermittent fast.
I don't even know if there's a food out there at all that I could say if this is all I got, I don't like it, I still would eat it. I'd find a way just to survive. If it was watermelon, I didn't love I didn't like it, I would eat it.
I don't know. I mean, if I had to survive, Gary says
it has a lot of water in it too, by the way.
It does. That's very true. I could cheat like the squirrel thirst trap, the squirrel who eats my tomatoes in a dry season to get the water.
Cucumbers too. Maybe it's certain textures. I'm trying to figure it out.
No, the texture thing for me is oysters.
You don't like oysters.
I would rather you throw me off the balcony than to eat another oyster. And I've tried them because people are like, you never tried it. Yes, I have. I've tried it. I watched it get shucked in front of me. The guy was shucking his brains out and just drops it right there. Like
it's definitely not the top of the list for me. I have to put all kind of things on there, with the hot sauce and anything. Because the last 2 times I've had it, my stomach got just tore up. And I was like, maybe I got a bad dose of oysters because I sure didn't mind eating them. So I kept eating them.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but I wouldn't
what did
say
I
it's
tell
at the
you
top
about
of the
any
list.
kind of meat? I told you this years ago. What do you do before you eat? You smell the meat before you eat.
You did.
You know that, Blaine. I've tried to teach you. All this stuff I attribute to you for football.
I didn't think it was bad.
But all the things I said, Blaine taught me that. Oh, I learned that from Blaine. Blaine. And then the one thing, I've taught you one thing, and you're like, no, that oyster stunk, and I still ate it.
Well,
then
I thought it was
got
more
sick.
of a joke because I just laugh when you say, before you eat meat, smell your meat.
No, smell the meat before you eat. All right, Gary said, people are weighing in on this, as you would imagine. Gary says, I don't care for mango simply because that center pit is so huge and tough to work around. I'll stick with peaches.
I'm about to walk out of this.
Darren says, I hate a yellow banana. I'll only eat if it's spotty.
Oh,
Cousin Danny says Jell-O and pudding are both garbage snacks. I could eat all the Jell-O pudding that you put in front of me.
Oh, my God. Well, I mean, you're stealing your son's snacks. Jell-O and
Oh, if
pudding.
there's pudding in the house, he never sees it. I'm like, no, we don't have any. We don't have any. And I have it, like, hidden.
What's your favorite kind of pudding?
You're going to say something crazy like butterscotch or
No,
something.
I was going to say banana, just something basic.
Chocolate. It's
Chocolate,
chocolate,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
And then you put the Cool Whip on top of it. You put you put some of that on there, like pudding in the cloud.
I'm not a big pudding guy. I was growing up, but not now. I feel like just like it goes in, it comes out.
Speaking of that, Lonzo says, I'd rather eat watermelon than cucumbers, and watermelon tastes like a nasty diaper. We got Jordan Dajani next, and you can keep the food takes coming. We can even take calls in the last segment if you're going to weigh in on this. Your most controversial food take, hit us on Twitter or the Zone TV chat, where there are many people weighing in right now. Jordan Dajani next to talk. Well, we'll talk NFL. We'll also ask him his most controversial food take. It's Blaine and Mickey.
Nobody talks to more Titans players than Buck Rising. And with that, you don't always know what you're going to get, as heard with Kendall Lamb.
How'd that go for you? It was nice, just to be quite frank, after practice, we worked for about 2 hours, and going in there, I call it my Zen time. I sit on the toilet, have a good time, and keep it moving. So
No doubt. Literally keep it moving. Zen time is important, though, man. The Buck Rising Show. Tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on 104.5 The Zone.
We asked Lucas, what's your most controversial food take? And he goes, I wouldn't know. I like everything.
Yeah.
That's controversial.
Well, he says, what'd you say? Chocolate?
He said, if I had to say one, chocolate ice cream's overrated.
It is.
Overrated.
But if you said chocolate gelato, he'd be in there singing in Italian about how good it is.
But there's nothing that I eat and I just can't digest it, that I just can't eat.
Probably because you don't eat it. I can't think anything that I just like, oh, no, I can't have. And I'm like, well, if I do, I don't eat it.
And I'll try everything once. Like, I might not
too.
love it, but I'm probably not going to really hate it. But I'll try everything once. Doesn't matter what it is.
I'm trying to think the last thing. I can't think of anything that I just don't like. All right, I got one.
Oh, okay, I'm going to tweet this out. Okay.
Yeah, chitlins. I refuse to eat something that smells that bad.
I think you're not alone on that one, dude.
Lucas?
I've never had chitlins. I've
Oh,
always
okay.
wanted to. I've always wanted to.
Yeah,
That's a Southern staple.
Yeah, I tasted them one time, and I thought I was going to not be here any longer.
Will Bowling in here says apple pie sucks, which is just an
Apple
abhorrent
pie?
opinion.
That's blasphemous.
Oh, my. How do you not like apple?
I don't even know.
You don't like fruit in your – is that what it is, Will?
I hate hot fruit of any kind. So
Hot
any
fruit,
kind
that's
of
what it
pie or
is.
cobbler, I can't do it.
Okay, I'll tell you this, and
Okay,
we got
that makes
Jordan
sense,
Dajani,
though.
and we'll bring him in, Jordan Dajani from CBS Sports NFL reporter. I'll say this, and I've said this on the radio before. Any kind of cooked fruit, like cherry pie, the only cooked fruit pie I can eat is apple, because apples are fine to me if they've been cooked. Peach, cherry, anything like that. Blueberries, I don't like the cooked fruit because they're like bugs. They have the
Bugs?
bugs.
What's bugs?
Boogers.
Like boogers?
It just feels like, not that I've had a booger,
but
it
we
just-
all know you did when
like,
you were younger.
well, sure.
'Cause we all did.
just like mushy and gross.
That's
but
good protein, by the way.
okay, thank you.
Is there no cobbler for you?
But well, no, I'm gonna finish. But I like the crust, especially because I like burned food.
Okay.
So if you like really cook the crust, and I love the gelatinous muck that
Yeah, she
the
said that
berries come in, like the colored
like it,
gelatinous
yeah.
muck. I love that. The muck and the crust, I'm all in on.
You like the muck,
The
but you
gelatinous
don't
muck.
like watermelon.
No.
You say it tastes like wet dirt.
Yeah, but
the
gelatinous muck,
muck doesn't taste
delicious.
like
Oh,
wet
it's
dirt.
It's delicious.
Oh, I love it too, but I don't know what. I can't distinguish why that's a little bit of a difference.
Gelatinous muck. Jordan Dajani joins us. Save us from ourselves, Jordan. So what is your most controversial food take? I don't like watermelon, and I'm just getting killed for it.
Yeah, I don't like chitlins.
Yeah, although no one likes those.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do have a pretty hot take on this, and it's not one that I would bring up in normal conversation because I'm afraid that it may affect how you guys look at me and view me as one of your best friends.
Uh-oh.
Here's my hot food take. I do not like cheese. The only cheese that I will eat is on a normal pizza. It's not going to be a 6-cheese Tuscan blend thing or extra cheese on my pizza. I can't do it. And it's not because my body can't take cheese. It's because I don't like the cheesy taste, okay? I mean, do you guys even know how cheese is made, right? It's by, curdling milk. It's rotten milk. It's bringing in a starter culture of bacteria, which is added to convert the lactose into lactic acid. So cheese lovers really like rotten milk for some reason, and I'm just totally against it. I'm not going to stand on my podium and yell at everyone because cheese is apparently one of the most popular foods. But for me, man, I can't do it. I don't like the taste.
Wait, hold on. It goes a little deeper. So when you get a burger, you're no cheese.
Nope, no cheese.
Okay, when you get a pizza, you're no cheese.
No, that's the one time. That's the one thing I can handle. But if you start getting crazy with the cheese, I can't do it, man. I can't handle it.
This is blasphemous.
Oh, my.
Lucas lost a bet and had to eat Swiss cheese like a pack a day for 5 days, and he gleefully ate it.
Very good.
He is Jordan. You're losing friends right and left.
Yeah,
with
I
this
think,
take.
Jordan, I think you just the thought of how cheese is made just really baffles you, and you just don't want to eat it. And so
Maybe.
you'll eat it on pizza. See?
That's the only way I can stomach it.
If you don't like something, you really don't like. I would not put chitlins on anything or anything close to it is no can do.
That's a very fair point.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would say no to chitlins. I think the controversial food take would be if you're like, I love those things.
And I actually have never had it. I've just smelled them.
No, I
went in at my mom's friend's house. I was like, I'm not having that. I try really hard to take a bite. And I was like, I just can't do it.
My dad ate those things.
No.
It's a hard no for me. Jordan Dajani, CBS Sports covering the NFL, joins us. Starting with controversial food checks. By the way, you're getting killed in the zone chat right now. Mike Otto says, not former Titan, but this is another Michael Otto, I would assume. Says, no cheese, get this man off my planet. So you're no longer welcome on Planet Otto.
I think there's days I may just eat a slice of cheese. Man, I can't imagine all the bacteria that's in my body now.
Oh,
look at he just said, "Oh,
you get me, man."
A slice of cheese.
You need the cheese curds, which are the bacteria that haven't even fully become cheese yet.
Though.
Oh, that's better. Yeah.
Does that make it any better?
That means it just aged in a barrel like in somebody's backyard. It's organic. No chemicals. No, we just let that stuff do its own thing on its own. It aged on its own free will. Jordan Dajani, our guest. Hey, on your own free will, you got some bold projection articles coming out. You've done the Titans and the Washington football teams. What are your 3 bold projections or predictions for the Titans? Let's just start there.
Yeah, so this article dropped this morning. I'm pretty excited about it. Number 1 actually has to do with quarterback Ryan Tannehill. My bold prediction is that he will finish top 5 in the NFL in touchdown passes. So last year he tied Deshaun Watson for 7th, I believe, a career-high 33 touchdowns. But my logic and the way I'm thinking about this is that obviously the addition of Julio Jones is going to bolster his passing attack or the Titans' passing attack in general. But I think the addition of Josh Reynolds is an underrated one as well, and it looks even better now that he doesn't have to be the clear-cut number 2. He's somebody who can kind of surprise defenses and line up in different spots on the field because he brings that versatility over from the Los Angeles Rams. We know there's a lot of considerable hype around the new tight end one, Anthony Ferguson, as well. I think that he's a guy who could make an impact in the red zone. We know what A.J. Brown brings to this passing attack. So Ryan Tannehill was knocking on the door last year, and with this re-energized passing attack is what I called it, I think that he's going to break that top 5 when it comes to touchdown passes. The other one that I want to bring up is that, you know, when I've been on your show before, we've talked about the main weakness when it comes to the Titans is probably the secondary, and more specifically the cornerback position. We got Jackrabbit Janoris Jenkins in free agency. He's a veteran that's a speedster. He's going to be a good piece, but there's a lot that's going to be on Christian Fulton and then the rookie, of course, Caleb Farley. So my bold prediction was that Christian Fulton was going to have a really big season and that Caleb Farley was going to be able to, 1, make sure that he stays healthy for the entire season, and 2, he's going to make an immediate impact as well. So my bold prediction was that maybe Tennessee's glaring weakness might not be as bad as some anticipate.
Jordan Dajani, CBS Sports, joining us here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, I'm going to ask them a broader question because I'm pretty sure the Titans are in the mix, just wondering where. Because I'm starting to look at the AFC, and outside of the Chiefs, who are the teams? I mean, it seems like it's a laundry list. I think all of them are somewhat jumbled together. It's going to be in the mix to compete with the Chiefs if they stay healthy for the AFC Championship.
Right. So the third prediction I had was that the Titans make it back to the AFC title game. Now, if I wanted to get really bold with it, I could say, you know, the Titans go to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl. But I couldn't bring myself to do it because I like the Kansas City Chiefs more than the Tennessee Titans at this juncture. Now, the teams that are going to be competing with the Titans when it comes to AFC glory are going to be, of course, the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen just signed his huge extension. He's secured for the future. I like the wide receiving core he has. The offensive line is solid. Hopefully the running backs take a step up. But I also like their defense. It's weird that defense took a step back last year, but they spent a first-round pick trying to beef up that pass rush. I think that's going to be important for them. Hopefully the secondary comes together as well. The Buffalo Bills are going to be a team to keep an eye on moving forward in 2021. The other one, and this is funny I'm saying this because I've been a huge detractor of this franchise, but very intrigued by the Cleveland Browns because I think on both sides of the ball they're set up well, at least on paper, to be somewhat of a Super Bowl contender. But there's a lot of question marks, and the first and foremost that will come to mind has to be quarterback Baker Mayfield because he's got a great offensive line, a talented wide receiving core, a dynamic duo at running back, and 2 good tight ends. Baker Mayfield just needs to find a way to put it all together. And we already know the defense is going to be much improved from 2020. So the Cleveland Browns on paper seem like they're going to be one of those major contenders in the AFC.
Well, no, with Jordan Dajani, CBS NFL writer, and I guess we've heard a lot about some of these rookie quarterbacks. Trey Lance, he's doing a great job, may eventually be the starter. Fields is kind of pushing Dalton, but man, I haven't heard a lot about Zach Wilson. What's going on with him there in the New York? Because all we hear about is the guys fighting in practice, nothing about the quarterback, which is odd.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. And we haven't heard a lot about Zach Wilson, and it's not necessarily because he's going through a quarterback battle, because he's obviously not. But he hasn't been able to string together good practices over the past few weeks. In fact, his first performance, I think it was called the green and white practice that the Jets held on Saturday night, was pretty much a dud. I mean, in front of nearly 20,000 fans, he completed 11 of 24 passes for 112 yards. He threw 2 interceptions and scored just 3 points in 7 possessions against the first-team defense. Now, of course, this is not a reason to press the panic button just yet. We know that Zach Wilson has talent. It just might take some time to adjust to the NFL level, and he's going to reach another milestone next Saturday when the Jets have their first preseason game against the Giants. So, yeah, I mean, I don't want to be someone who looks too much into these training camp and practices, because players have good ones and bad ones, and you don't want to try to jump to conclusions. But Zach Wilson hasn't been very good just as of late. So I think everyone's going to have eyes on that first preseason game.
Well, staying in New York, the Giants have had 3 players retire in training camp. I don't know if that's a record or not, but, man, is Joe Judge kind of running the Giants like trying to run people out of there to see who actually wants to be a part of his program, if you want to call it that?
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, I think he is, including our boy Zach Bolton, former Vol, recently retired. I think he was the third and final guy. But, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. And, I've said that I kind of like what Joe Judge is doing because it's different. And the other part of it is that the players who really backed Joe Judge, such as quarterback Daniel Jones and wide receiver Sterling Shepard, they're really bought into this, right? Like they're all about this kind of old school mentality, because Joe Judge is trying to foster a culture of success, and that's a lot harder to do, than just a new head coach coming in and being able to get the most out of his talent. You're going to have to kind of set the bar when it comes to expectations of your players, and that goes from your quarterback down to your third string offensive tackle. So that's what Joe Judge is trying to do. He definitely is seemingly approaching a record when it comes to forcing veterans to retire, because they can't keep in shape and can't run all these wind sprints and push-ups that Joe Judge is making them do. But yeah, man, it's been a very interesting storyline to follow.
No doubt about it. And some guys that we followed their careers throughout, a lot of guys that I played with or against, man. What were your thoughts of the NFL Hall of Fame induction and the speeches as well? Just kind of give us your overview of what stood out.
Yeah, man, I love it. I love it. It's always really emotional. I mean, I'm sure everyone listening is a big NFL fan, and it's great seeing those players that you looked up to or even your father looked up to get inducted and be able to step up to the podium in Canton and expound upon what they were able to bring to the game that everybody loves. I always love it, man. So the first thing that really stood out to me was the length of the speeches. Obviously, it was cut down because of the high volume of people going in from the 2020 class and then obviously the 2021 class. I think I like the idea of cutting down the speeches because I don't want them lasting 35 minutes like Ray Lewis did and Tony Gonzalez. But at the same time, I think 10 minutes is probably too short. So maybe we should spread that up to like 20 minutes or something like that, because I'm sure everyone wanted to hear Peyton Manning really go step by step through his football career and talk about, people who affected him and made him the man he is and the player he was. So, I mean, Peyton Manning is probably the highlight to me when he stepped up to the podium. He speaks so eloquently, and I think Adam Schefter even tweeted that, he sounds like he could be a future NFL commissioner, so don't rule that out. But what really stood out to me also was him talking about furthering the game of football. I thought that was very cool because when we think about it, the game of football itself is, I don't want to say under attack. That's probably too severe, but I mean, it's definitely gone through its fair share of adversities in the recent past, right? I mean, we had a pandemic that threatened the college football season, the NFL football season, definitely threatened the high school seasons of those players who are trying to be up-and-coming guys who are trying to secure scholarships. We had, obviously, safety is still an issue that we all discuss, and we're changing rules to make the game safer, although it may be less entertaining. Peyton Manning, when he got up to the podium and started waxing poetic about the game of football and how much it meant to him, and then also that he wants to be a proponent in furthering the game itself, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're on with Jordan Dajani, CBS NFL writer.
So, Jordan, this deal with Carson Wentz and with Quentin Nelson, so today, Chris Mortensen, I think, was the guy that I saw with it first, basically said they're probably going to be back for week 1. How did we go from 5 to 12 weeks to, they're just walking around without a cast or anything. Everything's fine. What's the latest because Titans fans don't want that to happen. They need him to miss through, at least week 4 so that week 3 they could play the Titans with one of those other dudes.
Yeah, that's a great question. And it was definitely Mortensen who had it first. It's a pretty interesting development because, especially considering Carson Wentz and his injury history, he's definitely had things that have lingered and have hurt him even when he's returned to the starting lineup. So that's good for Colts fans. But at the same time, I think it's always been in the same recovery timetable in terms of 5 to 12 weeks. It always was possible that Carson Wentz could be cleared by game week and return for the week 1 matchup against the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I still don't think that happens. Listening to Frank Reich speak, it almost sounded more like Carson Wentz could come back in week 2 or week 3. It would be pretty incredible if he was ready to suit up for the season opener. So this development was definitely something when it comes to, the Colts fans and obviously them starting off the season on the right foot. I didn't mean to say foot. That was a bad joke. But it's obviously a really good thing for Colts fans. It's going to be something that we're going to continue to monitor as the preseason moves forward. But I would anticipate just at this juncture that Carson Wentz is probably not out there in week 1.
What's going on with Deshaun Watson? Because he was out there doing individual stuff at the beginning, and then as soon as they started to do more team stuff or put on pads, then he would just stretch and go in, and then he had a mysterious health problem, and he held tackling dummies and stuff. What a distraction that this is, and until something gets resolved one way or another, it's just going to keep being a huge distraction.
Right. You're 100% right about that, which is why, I guess you could make it less of a distraction by just putting him on paid vacation and making him sit home while he figures out all the stuff that's going on off the field. But, there's no real new developments, I feel like, over the past couple of weeks. Like, we're all trying to figure out if there's even a possibility if a team would make a move to acquire him. And you and I talked about this last week because we both think that it would be a ridiculous move. Like you said, there would be protests outside the stadium if the Eagles or the Dolphins went out there and traded for Deshaun Watson. Yeah. There's so much that has to happen for him to be fully cleared just in terms of ready to return to the field. And then the NFL is going to have to release the findings of their own investigation, which it will likely come a suspension. I don't know how long that suspension might be. But, yeah, whether he's there or not, it just sounds like he's a huge distraction when it comes to the Houston Texans, who are facing a major rebuild, trying to gear up for the season with a first-year head coach. They don't have a talented roster. Just not a good thing that's going on down in Houston right now.
Jordan Dajani, our guest here on Blaine and Mickey, talking all things NFL.
Well, since we're talking about what's going on with players, there's been a lot of conversation about Michael Thomas, and then he kind of tweeted out a passive-aggressive, them talking to, trying to ruin his reputation, I guess. I don't know. I know he's injured right now. Do you think there's a possibility here in the next 5 weeks or so that he could be on the trade block?
Yeah, so what a wild situation, right? It just goes from bad to worse for the Saints. And like you said, Michael Thomas implied that the Saints are trying to damage his reputation. I think that obviously directly refers to the report saying that he has ignored calls from the team and his trainer for months, saying that he's been aloof and that he's been distant. Maybe Michael Thomas would like to refute that report. But also, Sean Payton, head coach, he's voiced his displeasure with Michael Thomas's delay in surgery, since he waited until June to get another procedure completed on his ankle, which is going to push his recovery timetable into the regular season, which has got to be absolutely infuriating if you're on the front office of the Saints, and this is something that was avoidable with arguably your best player. So in terms of him being traded, it sounds like there's so many people nationally that expect this to happen, almost as if there's a 90% chance that Michael Thomas is going to be shipped off to a new team. I'm not there yet. I think we need to see this story develop more. I'm not in the camp saying that Michael Thomas is 100% on the trade block, that he's definitely looking for a change of scenery, that he's going to be playing for a new team in 2021. It could happen, but I don't think we've seen this story develop enough to make me feel that way.
Man, no doubt about it. We're on with Jordan Dajani, CBS NFL writer. I guess lastly, we talked about a little bit about Josh Allen's extension there. You mentioned it. But who's going to break the ice next? Mayfield, Jackson, and what's the numbers going to be, man? Are we going to see a $50 million quarterback at some point, man? Aaron Rodgers next year, maybe?
Yeah, we probably will, and we're going to in the near future, no doubt about it. But man, when it comes to who's going to break the ice next, that's total guesswork. But if I'm giving you my opinion, I think it's going to be Lamar Jackson. I think that Lamar Jackson could be next up because, I mean, there's no doubt that both Baker and Lamar are going to sign their extensions. But I think Lamar Jackson, I feel like, I mean, I don't have any reports to go off of with this, but I feel like he's had some time to really negotiate this deal, especially with him being off the field for the past couple of weeks, dealing with COVID. He's negotiating his own deal as well. I don't know if that's going to be something that hinders the progress of the prospective contract or helps it along. It really could be either. I'm not sure. I'm kind of fascinated to see how that plays out. But, you know, with Josh Allen, his AAV, it's $150 million guaranteed. I think it's like $100 million guaranteed at signing or something ridiculous. Both of those set records. Oof. His $43 million per year comes in at number to see what the contract length is going to be. But with Lamar Jackson, man, you know, we've talked about this extension on the show before, and I'm curious to see how his shakes out because Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield, you know, have been more effective when it comes to throwing the ball down the field than Lamar Jackson. And it's not necessarily Jackson's fault, right? He hasn't had a good wide receiving core to work with. Hopefully that changes here in 2021. So I'm kind of curious if the Ravens either front load the deal, if it's for a shorter amount of time. What do they do for Lamar Jackson? So I think Lamar Jackson is my guess for the next guy who's going to break the ice, but I'm sure everyone's going to have their eyes on this situation.
Jordan, good stuff, man, and we'll send you out. And I saw this on social media a couple days ago. I know your four-legged friend. You had to say goodbye to your pup, man, and we know that's tough. And Blaine and I were talking about that earlier this week. So just know we're thinking about you, man, and dogs are man's best friend. So we're in your corner, man. We're thinking about you. It's hard to say goodbye to your four-legged friends.
Oh, man, I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Yeah, you know, the highs in life aren't as good if you don't have the lows to put things in perspective. So she had a good life. She was like 14 years old. It was family dog. Always a tough time, but appreciate you guys having me on the show. I'm looking forward to it every Wednesday.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to you again soon,
Jordan,
actually, next Wednesday. See you, Jordan, at Jordan Dajani. He does have article up about the Titans and then just everything NFL related. You just follow him at Jordan Dajani. You can get all of it. When we come back, we'll wrap things up. The Tennessee quarterback race, University of Tennessee, down from 4 to 3. We'll share that with you. And more of your controversial food takes before we say goodbye.
The Titans and Falcons go at it in the first preseason game of the year. Continuous coverage all day Friday.
Into the end zone. Touchdown, Titans!
With kickoff at 6 p.m. on your home for Titans football. 104.5 The Zone.
Songs I never get tired of. You can play it over and over. I never get tired of it. There are foods that many of you don't like, and we ask you this. Share your most controversial food take with us. And there were people weighing in on strawberries and mango and oysters and all kinds of things. Lucas said he likes everything. Do you ever get the feeling Lucas is just like trying to win over the whole audience? Like, oh, no, I like everything.
Well, he's been to so many different parts of the country. He's tasted a lot of different foods. So I'm not surprised at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do think he's burning the candle at both ends a little too much, though, right? We agree there. He needs to take better care of himself, not commit to everything.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Always say yes.
And before we get started, update, Nolensville has had a big comeback. They were down 3-0 in the bottom of the second or third. Now it's the top of the fifth. Bases loaded, 2 outs. They are now up 8-3, 2 outs, bases loaded. I don't know who's up to bat there, though, Lucas. He's a lefty.
I got nothing.
So that's pretty cool.
Nolan Brown. There you go.
Downtown
First
Nolan
baseman.
Brown.
Bryce Harper's his favorite player.
Lefty.
Boom.
Oh,
He got
up
hit
the
up the
middle.
middle. They cleared the bases. No, just kidding. They definitely scored. Oh, they did clear the bases.
That rascal
They scored a
knocked.
pair.
Yeah,
He
knocked
got
in
two.
10-3.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Ooh, they showing the families. Oh, man, I think some people may have saw their mother on TV or father.
Yeah, you be texting your friends when you see them on TV. Again, Nolensville was down, as Blaine said, down 3-0. They chased the starting pitcher, and they've been after this poor rascal who came in next. They've been shelling this poor dude. All this is going down right now. So congrats to them to making it and to not get their heads down and just keep fighting, because it could have been worse than 3-0. They battled their way just to keep that score, and they have opened a can there. Brian Maurer has closed a can. And
What? What did he do?
That can is his UT career quarterback, it looks like.
No.
A lot of people reporting today, not at practice. He dropped to 4th on the depth chart. And he's a social media guy. Like, he posts stuff on social media, and fans who follow him, they'll.
Did he post that he is no longer? He's in the TP. Did he post that?
This is what he posted, and he later deleted most of it.
Uh-oh.
He said this is what he posted on social media apparently a few days ago, but then he amended it. He posted, "They took my dream after 4 days. That's okay because I'm a soldier. Hashtag 18 out." He later edited it to just, "I'm a soldier."
I mean, 18 out. He could have been like, I'm done talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's out.
He is out.
Well, when he should have been out was right when they signed Joe Milton. Every quarterback there should have been an aha moment.
Well, now this has happened with him before. There's been like cryptic social posts from Brian Maurer before, reports of him transferring, and then it never materialized. It wouldn't surprise anybody, but it has happened before, and he did not transfer the first time.
Well, I said I'm going beyond that. I said this when Joe Milton was signed.
Yep.
That all quarterbacks should be on alert or you should be actually figuring out where you may go. There's a reason why they brought him in. It's almost impossible for him not to be the starter. At the time that they signed him, he didn't do any spring. He's just learned the playbook, and he's already in the rotation. It tells you what they thought when they signed him. Don't have your eyes closed and believe the BS that they tell you, oh, you're still going to be able to compete for the job. Well, why did you then sign a quarterback when we already have 4 on the roster? Yep. That's what you should have responded to if you got that kind of answer. And that means that they didn't like the guys on their roster as far as at quarterback. They didn't see a guy that they said, you know what, he's our dude. Yeah, Joe Milton's going to be the dude unless he just blows it up and fails.
Just craps the bed, as they say.
He's got to be. They signed him. So Maurer or anybody else, everybody who's on the Harrison Bailey bandwagon, he's not. It's pretty much going to be Milton, Hooker, then Bailey. That's kind of how it's looking. Yep. Yep. Just so Maurer probably feels like he wasted 3 years.
That rascal.
He played as a freshman, by the way.
It started. It started. All right.
He's a heck of an athlete, too.
The Eagles means that we got to go, just like Maurer. Time for us to move on to the next thing. It's Wednesday. 3HL's coming up next. Tomorrow, Coach Matthews will be on with us. Doug Matthews will ask him all about what's going on up there. Doug E. Fresh. Have a great night, everybody.
And since Maurer's out, Blaine and Mickey is out. Peace.
live interaction with other listeners while watching your favorite Zone shows. It's 104.5 The Zone TV Live on